Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah. All praise belongs to Allah, the most merciful, the most kind. We send our salutations upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his noble family, his blessed companions, and every soul that follows his path until the last day. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If you are preparing for Hajj this year, or if you have been dreaming of it, planning for it, saving for it, this reminder is for you. Hajj is not just a journey, it is the invitation of a lifetime. When your visa was approved, when your ticket arrived, when your name was confirmed, that was Allah saying labbaik to you before you even said it to Him. That was the Lord of all creation calling you to His house. And the most important thing to understand before we begin this step-by-step guide is this. Hajj is not just about packing your bags. It is not just about knowing which rituals to perform and in which order. Hajj is about arriving in the house of Allah ready to be changed, ready to leave behind who you were and return as someone better. So let us go through this journey together, step by step, day by day, with both practical knowledge and spiritual awareness. Before you leave, preparation of the heart. Preparing for Hajj begins long before you board the plane. The Prophet ﷺ described Hajjul Mabrur, the accepted Hajj, as having no reward except Jannah itself. And Hajjul Mabrur is not defined by the physical rituals alone. It is defined by what happens inside the heart during those rituals. So begin your preparation by asking yourself, why am I going? Not the surface answer, the real answer. Are you going because it is your turn? Because the family arranged it? Because the money finally came? All of these are fine beginnings. But the journey from those beginnings to a Hajj that transforms you requires intention. The niyyah, the intention, must go deeper than logistics. Tell Allah honestly, Ya Allah, I am coming to your house. I am coming as a sinner who needs your mercy. I am coming as a servant who has been away too long. I am coming to return to you. Also, before leaving, settle your affairs. Pay any debts you owe. Ask forgiveness from those you have wronged. Write a will if you have not already. Provide for your family during your absence. Hajj requires that you leave your worldly affairs in order, not abandoned, but properly arranged. And spend the weeks before departure learning, not just the rituals, though those are essential. Learn the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam and Hajar. Learn the story of Ismail alayhi salam. Understand why you will be performing each ritual, what it represents, what it is commemorating. When you know the story behind the action, every step of Hajj comes alive in a way that ritual alone cannot produce. The 8th of Dhul Hijjah, the day of Ihram. The journey of Hajj officially begins on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah. The night before, the 7th, most pilgrims cannot sleep, and that is completely normal. You have ironed your Ihram. You have packed your small bag for Mina. The anticipation is real and overwhelming. When the morning of the 8th arrives, you wake, make ghusl, and put on your Ihram. For men, the Ihram is 2 pieces of unstitched white cloth, nothing sewn, just cloth, wrapped with discipline and dignity. For women, any modest, comfortable clothing is appropriate, with the face uncovered according to the more common scholarly position. And then the moment arrives. You make your niyyah, your intention for Hajj. You say, Labbaik Allahumma Hajjan. And from that moment, the restrictions of Ihram apply. What restrictions? You must guard your tongue. No arguments, no harsh speech, no idle talk. You must guard your gaze. You must not cut your hair or nails. You must not use perfume. You must not engage in marital relations. And you must not hunt. These restrictions are not punishments, they are a school of discipline, because Hajj is teaching you through these visible limitations what you are capable of when you commit to Allah's boundaries. And every pilgrim who has gone through the ihram with genuine consciousness has said the same thing. If I could do this in ihram, I can do this in regular life. The buses begin moving toward Mina from early morning. Millions of people, all in the same white cloth, all repeating, Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik, moving together toward the same destination. The sight alone is enough to make the heart ache with gratitude. Mina, the day of tents. Mina is a valley outside Mecca. On the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, all pilgrims gather there and spend the day and the following night. When you arrive and see the sea of white tents stretching as far as the eye can see, and understand that millions of people from every country on earth are sleeping here, eating here, praying here, the reality of the ummah hits you in a way that no description can prepare you for. In Mina, you pray 5 prayers: Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha and Fajr. The prayer that requires the most effort here is Fajr, because the buses to Arafah often leave before the Fajr prayer window closes. But do your best. Use this day in Mina wisely. Recite Quran, make dhikr, talk to fellow pilgrims, sleep when you can, because the days ahead will demand energy you need to conserve. And most importantly, begin to shift internally. The busyness of the journey, the excitement of arrival, the logistics of tents and bags, all of it can distract from the spiritual work. Begin that work in Mina. Begin turning your heart toward what is coming, because what is coming is the most important day of the Islamic calendar. The 9th of Dhul Hijjah, the day of Arafah. This is it. This is the heart of Hajj. This is the day that the Prophet ﷺ himself described in the most profound terms. Hajj is Arafah. The scholars have always said this, that if a person performed every other ritual of Hajj but missed Arafah, their Hajj is invalid. This is the essential pillar, the indispensable moment. The buses move from Mina toward Arafah before dawn. Sometimes the journey takes 10 minutes. Sometimes, due to the sheer volume of 3 to 5 million pilgrims moving simultaneously, it takes 2 or 3 hours. Whatever it takes, you will arrive. And when you step out of the bus at Arafah and feel the ground beneath your feet, know where you are standing. This is the plain where the Prophet ﷺ stood on his farewell pilgrimage, where he raised his hands for 5 hours and made dua for this ummah, for you by name, through his general supplication for every believer who would come after him. He stood here and cried for you, and now you are standing where he stood. After Fajr, settle in your tent, pray Dhuhr and Asr combined and shortened, and then the main act of this day begins, Wukuf, standing. The standing at Arafah, from after Dhuhr until sunset, you stand or sit or pray facing the Qibla and you make dua. No specific dua is required, no specific words. This is your personal conversation with Allah. This is the moment you have been building toward. This is where you pour out everything, the years of sins, the broken promises, the unanswered duas, the relationships that need healing, the fears you have never spoken aloud, the gratitude you have never fully expressed. Talk to Allah the way you have always wanted to talk to someone who truly understands you, because He does. The scholars say, make dua for everything. For your dunya and your akhirah. For your children and your parents. For your marriage and your provision. For the Muslims around the world who are suffering. For the person who wronged you. Yes, make dua for them too. Because generosity in dua is itself a sign of a pure heart. And if the tears come, let them. If the words do not come, just say, Ya Allah, and mean it. That is enough. The standing itself in the right right place at the right time with sincere intention is an act of worship that Allah responds to with mercy that we cannot fully comprehend. On this day, Allah boasts about the pilgrims of Arafah to the angels and says, "Look at my servants. They have come to me disheveled from distant lands, hoping in my mercy. And I bear witness before you, I have forgiven them." Forgiven on the plain of Arafah. This is what you came for, Muzdalifah, the night that shows what truly matters. As the sun sets on Arafah, the pilgrim moves. Not slowly, not after resting. Immediately after sunset, the buses begin loading and the journey to Muzdalifah begins. Muzdalifah is an open plain between Arafah and Mina. And it is here that one of the most powerful lessons of Hajj is taught. Not through a lecture, but through the experience itself. You arrive in Muzdalifah, you pray Maghrib and Isha combined, and then you sleep on the ground. No five-star treatment, no VIP section, no private rooms for the wealthy. Every pilgrim, the king and the beggar, the scholar and the new Muslim, the billionaire and the person who saved for 20 years to come, sleeps on the same ground, under the same sky. In Muzdalifah, there is no wealth, there is no status, there is no title. There is only the servant before the Creator. The Quran will be recited around you. Pilgrims will be weeping, and as you lie on that ground, perhaps uncomfortable, perhaps cold, perhaps exhausted, something shifts inside you. The things that felt important yesterday feel less important tonight. The arguments that consumed you feel smaller. The material accumulation that defined your life in the outside world looks different from the ground of Muzdalifah. While there, collect small pebbles. You will need them for the jamarat. Collect at least 70. Small ones, the size of chickpeas, not large stones, not pebbles you find near animals or in dirty areas. Small, clean pebbles from the open ground. When Fajr Adhan is called and it hits differently in Muzdalifah, in the open air, surrounded by millions of worshippers, pray Fajr. And then begin moving toward Mina before sunrise. The 10th of Dhul Hijjah, Eid, Jamarat, and release from Ihram. This is the day of Eid. And while the rest of the Muslim world is celebrating with new clothes and festive meals, the pilgrim is completing the most physical day of Hajj. Step 1, the Jamarat. In the valley of Mina stand 3 pillars. These mark the spots where Shaitan attempted to dissuade Prophet Ismail alayhi salam from obeying Allah's command, and where Ismail alayhi salam threw stones to drive him away. On the 10th, you throw 7 pebbles at the largest pillar, the Jamratul Aqaba, saying, Allahu Akbar, with each throw. You are not throwing stones at Shaitan literally. You are commemorating an act of defiance against Shaitan. You are declaring through this physical action that you choose Allah over every whisper that has ever tempted you. After the Jamarat, contact your representative to confirm that your sacrificial animal has been slaughtered. This is the Ruvviya, the sacrifice that commemorates Ibrahim alayhi salam's willingness to sacrifice his son and Allah's mercy in sending a ram in his place. Step 2, Halq or Taqsir. Once you confirm the sacrifice, men shave their heads or cut their hair significantly. Women cut approximately the length of a fingertip from the ends of their hair. This act of removing hair is an act of humility. It is the body participating in the spiritual submission. And when it is done, you have exited the state of ihram. The restrictions are lifted. You may dress normally again. Step 3, Tawafuz Ziyara and Sa'i. Either on this day or the following days, you return to the Masjidul Haram and perform Tawafuz Ziyara, 7 circuits around the Kaaba. This is one of the obligatory pillars of Hajj. Followed by Sa'i, 7 lengths between Safa and Marwa. commemorating Hajar's search for water for her infant son Ismail. With this, the main acts of Hajj are complete. The days of Tashriq, 11th and 12th of Dhul Hijjah. The pilgrim returns to Mina and spends 2 or 3 nights there. These are called the Ayyamut Tashriq, the days of staying. Each day after Dhuhr, you return to the Jamarat and throw 7 pebbles at each of the 3 pillars. 21 pebbles per day, saying Allahu Akbar with each throw. These are also days of ibadah, of rest, of reflection. The physical intensity of Arafah and the 10th has passed. Now is the time to sit in your tent, open the Quran and begin absorbing what happened to you in the past 48 hours. On the 12th or the 13th, if you choose to stay, you depart Mina before sunset. And the 5 days of Hajj rituals are complete. The farewell tawaf, tawaful wada, before leaving Mecca entirely, before your final departure for home or for Medina, every pilgrim must perform the farewell tawaf, 7 final circuits around the Kaaba. This is the moment that breaks most pilgrims, because you know, as you make each circuit that you are leaving, that the Kaaba will remain, but you will be going back to your life. And something in the heart does not want to go. Make your final dua in this tawaf the most sincere of all. Ask Allah to accept everything, every imperfect step, every distracted moment, every tear you cried sincerely, and every moment you were too tired to feel anything at all. Ask Him to accept the effort even where the experience fell short. And then ask Him one more time, one last time, to bring you back. What Hajj is really teaching you. My beloved brothers and sisters, every ritual of Hajj is a lesson. The Ihram is teaching you that before Allah, all status is equal. The Tawaf is teaching you to orbit your life around Allah rather than around your desires. The Sa'i is teaching you that desperate effort combined with trust in Allah produces miracles. The standing at Arafah is teaching you that the greatest thing a human being can do is turn toward Allah with complete honesty. The throwing of pebbles at the Jamarat is teaching you to actively resist shaitan, not passively drift away from him, but consciously, physically, deliberately reject his suggestions. And Muzdalifah, sleeping on the ground with kings and beggars alike, is teaching you the most important lesson of all, that what we accumulate in this world counts for nothing in the sight of Allah. That the only currency that matters in His court is taqwa, consciousness of Him. The name Hajji, the title given to those who have performed the pilgrimage, is not an achievement to display. It is a responsibility to carry. It is the daily reminder that you were in the house of Allah and you made promises there. And now every day is the question, are you keeping them? Go home and be changed. Your anger, manage it. Your tongue, guard it. Your provision, purify it. Your relationships, repair them. Your prayer, protect it. Your Quran, return to it. Because the accepted Hajj, Hajjul Mabrur, is not confirmed on the plain of Arafah. It is confirmed in the years that follow, in the choices you make every day, in the person you are becoming because you stood where you stood. Closing dua. O Allah, accept the Hajj of every pilgrim who went to your house with sincerity. Accept the intention even where the action was imperfect. Accept the effort even where the energy ran out. O Allah, for those who have not yet gone, make a way for them, write their names among those invited, and when they arrive, make their Hajj mabrur. O Allah, make us among those who are not just called Hajji by people, but recognized as Hajji by you. People whose lives were changed, whose hearts were softened, whose connection with you deepened. O Allah, bring us back to your house again and again, and make our final return the one that takes us from this world in your pleasure. Ameen, Ameen, Ameen. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.